standing for the national anthem of Team Japan.
So a semi-final showdown between Australia and Japan, and it doesn't get any better than that. Trust me, this is going to be, I would expect, a humdinger. Although that said, you never know the unpredictability that goes in basketball. You could always see Australia roll to a big win.
That's right, we're all here.
You can see Japan edge another thriller. I mean, I just don't. There is that air of unpredictability, and well, the referees, they will play a big part in this. Padang Dagit from Thailand, of course, and that refereeing crew. And it takes so long to say her name. I don't have enough time to read the other guys, so apologies. But they do a good job, and we'll get a look at the rosters for Australia and for Japan.
Yeah, and again, we've had it, you know, all tournament pretty much for every team. It's difficult to select the players that you really want to focus in on. But McBeggar has had a real breakout tournament. She's averaging 13.3 points, 4.5 rebounds, and has really staked a claim to be a starting big for Australia. But Allen had a big game last time out, 15 points against Taipei.
Oh, hey, you know what you're getting from her is just 100% intensity. She is excellent. Mitchell as well. Beck Allen was amazing in the last game. McBeggar, and, you know, it's just, it doesn't matter who they put out there. It's a good starting five.
Yeah, talent after talent after talent. Sandy Brondello is, yeah, spoiled by her riches.
Kayla George as well is just a terrific veteran, and you know what? That veteran leadership is going to have to shine through today.
Yeah, it really has, because Japan, they're exactly the same. You know, 1 through 12, there's absolutely tons of talent and real versatility in their roster. But you've got to look at the combo, really, the front court combo of Tokashiki and Takada, just really formidable. And then you look at the last game, 21 points for Motohashi, and she just rained the threes. She was absolutely lights out in the last game. But yeah, huge amount of talent for Japan as well.
So Takada, Tokashiki, Machida, Rui Machida, Miyazawa, and Akaho had that huge first game in the starting five. Miyazawa really played well lately, and we're now going to take a look down on the benches. Tom Hovas, the American, longtime assistant, then promoted to the top job. He's been terrific. Speaks Japanese.
多分近くにサイトをちゃんと見て自分の前がアンドリーっていうことがでも近くに応募しましょう。Okay?
So this is here. We're going off here. Make sure you get open, okay? They might get in passing lanes here, then reverse it here, stagger away. Okay, if Ezzy's open, give it to her, otherwise we play high pick and roll, okay? Hey, look, the drags, get into the movement, reverse the ball side to side, you run in the weak, you get to the middle, pick and roll. You can bump it any time to get into the middle as well. The loop red, okay, and the punch, but get a post-interior presence, okay? You got it? Let's go. Down to the ball, let's go.
Sandy Brondello is one of the great Australian coaches. And we talked about Tom Hovas. And they're getting ready to match wits. Sandy Brondello played so many times for Australia over the years. First World Cup was back in 1990. Played in '94 World Cup. Played in '98. And
double silver medalist at the Olympics as well. I imagine they were probably the highlights of her playing career and the memories that she'll always have. And hopefully she passes that kind of experience on to her team. And it's part of the reason that this team respects her so much.
Yeah, you saw Tom Hovats there as well. He's coached actually against Rondella's husband, Olaf Long, in the last one because Sandy was coaching in the WNBA at the time. Obviously, Long now has been coaching Russia's national team. And Rondella is back here at this tournament. Well, good late afternoon from Bengaluru, India. This is the first semifinal of the FIBA Women's Asia Cup between Japan and Australia. And Australia in the green and gold get the first rebound there with Kayla George. Remember, Australia had to play yesterday. They won big. And Japan got the day off. They went straight to the semifinals. McBeggar misses with her first attempt. Rui Machida right past the Australian defense.
Wow, there's very few players on the planet that make Leilani Mitchell look slow, but Machida just left her for dust.
Beck Allen from the arc picks right up where she left off yesterday.
It really does. 15.5 boards in yesterday's game, and she really stepped up to the plate and produced a huge amount of offense for Australia.
Big pass to Takada. Oh, the rejection from Beck Allen, who's doing it all. O'Hay drives right inside and draws the foul on Akaho. Australia looking like they're taking no prisoners today. Look at this.
Yeah, they've certainly come out the gates better than Japan have at the moment. As you see the rejection from Beck Allen and doing it on both ends of the floor.
Ever since Beck Allen fouled out against China the other night in that one-point loss, she has really been driven, hasn't she? She's had the look of the eye of the tiger.
She certainly has, and it's going to be needed today. You have a feeling every Australian's going to have to play to their potential today to beat what is a very impressive and slick Japanese side. They've progressed through this tournament with real style.
Kahu penetrates back outside to Takashiki. Miyazawa. And the Takashiki played with Seattle in the WNBA. Now the pass intercepted by Rui Machida. Miyazawa for three. Kaho and is fouled, going for the rebound.
And Japan look a little bit unsettled on the offensive end, and it's nothing to do, I don't think, to do with what Australia are doing. I think it's just more at the moment, I don't know, they maybe don't have the confidence that they've had in the other games, and it seems strange because they've been very, very impressive in this tournament, and they should consider themselves, you know, if not evens, favourites for this game.
Miyazawa misses another one. Mitchell back to George. Good for three.
And this is a huge start for Australia. It really is. They will be very happy to open this 6-point lead. But that said, what did they do to China in that last group game? They did exactly the same, and then ended up letting China back into it and ultimately losing the heartbreak.
Takada for three, and she's short. It's been a tale of three-pointers so far. Japan missing theirs, Australia making theirs.
I find it hard to believe that's what Coach Hovas wants Japan to do, just rely on the outside shot.
Allen inside the arc this time. Shida. Miyazawa quickly to Takashiki. And good help again by Beck Allen. Really showing the advantage of her length out there defensively. Now O'Hay drills a three, and the Opals are flying 11-2 and forcing Hovas to call timeout.
Yeah, shell-shocked Japan at the moment, as we see, like you say, the defense from Allen is going to spur the offense, and they race down the floor. And Mitchell finds the wide-open shooter for three, and Yeah, Japan look a little bit shell-shocked, and I don't think Coach Hovas is going to be too impressed with the slow start they've had.
Now, I know Jen is still big, but you can go.
けど全然入ってない。でヘッダウンしない。そういう意味じゃないじゃないですか。ちゃんとエクセキューション。で最後まで自信持って打って、それだけだよ。どうしたん言って。ダブルティーム来ないの。ダブルティーム来ないんだったら1対1。13番ちゃんと見てペイントがいるかどうか。それだけ。もし相手のウィングオンボールあるじゃないですか。
Okay, hey, we're doing great. Now we're getting easy baskets in transition, but we're ready for more movement. Okay, so execute. 1, 2, 3. Execute.
It really does make you wonder. You know, Australia played yesterday. You know, you don't want to have to play that game, but they did. Maybe kind of got the bad taste out of their mouth from the defeat to China, and I mean that game was never in doubt. And now they've come out today in form, and Japan, after having taken a day off, on their own.
And for me, I think, yeah, absolutely right. I think it's an advantage for Australia in the early going, because they're in form, they're flowing, you know, the muscle memory and the kind of feel of being in basketball is newer. But I think it then becomes an advantage Japan as we get into the later stages of the game when tiredness will creep in.
Well, for the second time tonight, Japan gets a layup. And now the pressure from Rui Machida forces a turnover, a little bit of miscommunication, I think, with George and Mitchell.
And my Japanese isn't good, but I'm presuming Coach Hovas has said, let's go to the basket, let's get inside the paint.
Just wish we could have stayed on the inbounds pass, but nevertheless, we got the celebratory scenes from Japan. Another quick pass to Takashiki, and just like that, 4 quick points out of the gate, out of the timeout.
And exactly the right way to play it. You know, they've relied on the outside shot. It's not worked, and the timeout has reset them to go inside.
Ohei, though, goes right to the rim as well. Ishida to Miyazawa. George brings it down. McBagger, and McBagger puts it in. So Australia, boy, she is up there. You see where she's releasing the ball, right?
Oh, yeah, the rim. Just dropping it in rather than having to push it up. But yeah, wonderful change of direction from McBagger there. She just stopped and changed direction on a dime.
Rui Machida for 3. Kaho with the board. And Morihashi's going to come into the game from Machida. Kaho, that's off. This is everything.
And again, after that quick resurgence from Japan, you know, coming out of the timeout, they did exactly the right thing. Go at the basket, try and get those high percentage scores and those shots that are closer. And then they've just so quickly forgotten, and they're quite happy to accept, you know, mid-range and long-range jumpers. And I don't think that's where Japan are going to be best suited today.
He catches it, puts it up and in. Makes it look easy. So Motohashi and Motokawa come into the game for Japan. Motohashi had a huge three-point shooting night the other night, but ran into that advertising warning. And we were wondering if she would even play tonight. There's Motokawa. Well, the plan is to attack the basket more. We did see that, but now we're seeing Japan put up the threes.
Kaho picking up her second foul there as well, which is a bit of a worry because she's had a pretty good tournament. She had 23 points in game day 1 and 13 in game day 3 against career averaging 15 overall. And, you know, you have a feeling Japan might need her shooting, particularly in a game like this where the paint might be a little bit busy.
Steph Talbot in for Australia. Leilani Mitchell drives in. Blitzab's also in, gets the rebound. And is fouled in the end by Motohashi. She avoided being tied up.
And Sarah Blitzab's enjoyed her extended minutes yesterday. She really had a big game against Chinese Taipei, was doing it all over the floor.
turns, and Takada rebounds it. Wow. So a kick called on Kayla George. Have to see that again. I didn't see it. Anyway, she goes to the bench.
Takashiki got away with one there, really. You know, she shouldn't be taking that shot. She needs to get close to the basket, do some back to the basket work, or at least, you know, make a drive to the hoop.
2 times MVP of this event, Takashiki.
Probably one of the highest profile players in this tournament.
We've had good representation from Japan here in India for these games. Probably the best supported team, actually. Beck Allen is swatted by Takashiki. And now Machida for Japan. Or excuse me, Motohashi. Abby Bishop in the game guarding Takashiki. And good defense from behind, knocking it away. Here comes the Opals. Trying to make the backdoor cut. And Edzuri got held up. So the ball just goes out of bounds.
And the Japanese fans in the arena are definitely doing all they can to get Japan back into this one. What I'm loving is, I don't know if it's the Japanese Federation or group of fans themselves, seem to have brought quite a few additional Japanese flags and handed them out. So they've turned this Indian crowd into a Japanese crowd for the day.
Motohashi gets in, bounce pass, Takada, and Takada gets it to go.
Yeah, I like that. Motohashi now becoming provider. She was scorer the other day. And it's good that they've got Takada going as well.
Edzuri, a little bit out of control there, leaning into that. Motohashi falls down. Takashiki fouled by Bishop.
And what I'm loving, when Motohashi's on the floor, Japan start their offense a lot earlier. As we're going to see the foul now. Yeah, Bishop just, if anything, almost intentional just to stop things, let the Australian defense reset. But with Motohashi at the helm as point guard for Japan, they get the ball up really quickly. And although that might not create a transition offense, what it does is it gives you an extra couple of seconds in your half-court offense.
Motohashi drives in and makes the layup. She's definitely become the go-to point guard for Japan the last couple of games. Talbot at the stripe. And that allows Japan to run, but it's 1-on-3. Australia getting back. Doesn't matter. Motokawa. Wow. Looked like she was forcing the issue there, but she got a block called on O'Hay.
Yeah, second foul on O'Hay as well, and let's have a watch it. Yeah, I think she makes the contact. She definitely initiates the contact, but O'Hay is not stationary or going backwards. There's Motohashi, a replay of her.
Do you think they Motohashi? They made a hash of that? They Motohashi'd it?
I think you Motohashi'd that pun into the commentary.
Okay, we'll go down to the Australia bench.
You split it now. I know 52 is here, but they're driving here. If we help here, someone else helps her. We're getting so stuck here. We're always getting up, waiting, you know, guarding. It's a three-point shot. I'm not saying. If they dribble here, you don't stun here, though, Beck. You just stay in place as much as we can here. Okay, I like the rotation. If we're being aggressive in these pick and rolls, we're rotating out of it. Okay, but now it's all about offense, not getting into anything. Okay, we got to get movement. Okay, you're playing at the 4 now, not a space player, not a 3 player. Just get the movement.
It's written. からそこを忘れないで、はい、もし強いドライブやったらもうそこのスイッチでもいい。悪くない。
So you saw the 0 for 8 from three-point range from Japan, and you would not expect that to continue. Right now, it's 17 to 12 in favor of Australia. So despite their shooting woes, Japan doing a good job of staying within striking distance here.
Well, they've changed things up. You know, they're actually now going to the basket. They're not just relying on the outside shots. They're, like you say, 0 from 8 is never a good look, but they're now going to the basket. But the bigger thing that they're doing is on the defensive end. They seem to have got to grips a little bit more with Australia, and they've increased their tempo and the distance that they're playing. Their defense is a lot closer now. It's never a good sign when you see someone at the free throw line and they lean after they let go of the shot, trying to will the thing in.
He makes the second. Yeah, I was always doing that. All right.
You got to the free throw line?
Absolutely. Put up the occasional air ball from the line. Here's Blitzavs. Just joking, of course. Here we go. Beggar puts on the deck, goes right at Takada. Wow. So if offense is the problem, we'll just go to McBeggar.
Yeah, it seems to be, yeah. If all else fails, give the ball to McBeggar.
Entry pass to Nagaoka. Fouled by Mitchell.
And I like that. I like that. They identified the mismatch straight away and they went at it. What most teams have done, they've managed to create that mismatch with Mitchell, but they haven't been quick enough to exploit it, because what you'll see is the Australians will try and rotate as quick as they can to get Alani Mitchell out of that as Garbin comes in.
We saw McBeggar's soft release there. That is just, again, I mean, you can't say it too many times. I mean, the sky's the limit for her. It's going to be interesting to see how good of a player she turns out to be. She's already a really good one. Nagaoka has done a great job again this summer for Japan, despite having to wear that face mask. We nicknamed her Ultra Woman, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah.
Playing like a superhero. Japan in the 2-3 zone now, and it doesn't cause any. Well, McBeggar missed a shot. She should have made it, really. And now here comes Motohashi. Darcy Garvin, the ball goes over her, called by Nagaoka, and Miyazawa gets it back. Wandello thought there was a travel. Now Takada gets in, and great defense by Talbot. Ebsbury dumps it to Garvin.
And straight away, Garbin's in and making an impact is what she's done all tournament. As soon as she's been given that opportunity, she's grabbed it with both hands.
Yeah, she's certainly in the running for revelation of the tournament for me. And the ball intercepted by Talbot. Here she is. Beautiful bounce pass to Ebsbury.
Australia definitely look better when they're in a free-flowing offense rather than that stagnant half-court.
All 10 seconds of the opening quarter. Nagaoka gets swatted. Australia still have a little bit of time. Talbot's going to launch it. She does. Boy, that would have gotten everybody excited over on that Opals bench. But as it is, Australia having a very good first quarter. McBeggar particularly has been excellent with her scoring and with that defensive play. The Opals on top, 23-15 of Japan at the end of one.
And here's your shooting percentage in the first quarter, and that tells you really all you need to know with regards to why the lead is with Australia. 3 from 4 from outside for Australia, whilst Japan at 0 from 9 their woes from outside have really cost them in that first quarter. And you hope, you know, for the Japanese side of things, that either their shooting starts to improve or they look to go somewhere else on the offensive end. Whereas for Australia, apart from a little kind of bump in the road in the middle of that quarter, they'll be very happy with the first 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, really, O'Hay helped set the tone at the beginning, as did Beck Allen, and really then it was the Ezi McBeggar show.
Yeah, it really was. McBeggar, 4 points, 2 boards, but probably more impressively 2 blocks in just over 7 minutes of action for her. Oh, she certainly has the moves, you know, the spin, the reverse pivot, wonderful.
And scored 5 unanswered points to make it 17-12, but Australia scored 6 straight. So they are in the driving seat right now, 23-15. Second quarter underway here in Bengaluru, India. And the pass down low to Ezi McBeggar. And boy, they make it look easy, don't they?
Yeah, they really do. Japan are going to have to crank up their defense at the moment. It's not playing at the level it needs to if they want to win.
Tokashiki misses everything.
Just too far away from the basket. That's not where Tokashiki is going to cause Australia the most problems.
Yeah, they're more than happy, I think, to take their chances with her outside.
And I'm sure Coach Bondello's smiling to see Tokashiki taking that shot.
Garbin, meanwhile, that was short. I mean, Tokashiki can hit the jump shot, but, you know, when you're struggling a little bit, you want to maybe get a higher percentage shot. Here's Takada at the stripe. Steph Talbot over to Mitchell. And Tokashiki makes a play on defense, blocking Garbin, and then saves the ball in bounds. Rui Machida bounce pass to Takada, but the Australians had it well covered down there. And Mo Takada drives in and scores with the layup, the reverse.
Yeah, smart move. She read the defense, and, you know, that's exactly what they gave her. They gave her the baseline to drive, and she took full advantage. And it's important when you're struggling offensively that if you are given that opportunity that you grab it with both hands, and thankfully for Japan, Motokawa did.
McBeggar, and like Australia are happy that Tokashiki is outside, I'm sure Japan are happy that McBeggar is taking that shot.
Yeah, that'll be the time for Tom Hovas to smile.
Machida for 3, still short. Ofer from 3-point range. Japan, it's been a horror show. Garbin to McBeggar, where she's much better, turns and score. Nope, missed on the baseline. Japan 0 for 9 from deep, but here they are. And look at Ebsary come down and make the great play.
Wonderful play. Takada needed to be a bit more heads up, have an idea of where the defense was, and she could have just had a little fake, and Ebsary would have flown past her.
Wonderful pass, Talbot. And then Garbin
once again doing a wonderful job. She really has come off the bench and put in some wonderful minutes in this tournament.
Mitchell pulls up from deep, goes in and out. Motokawa with a quick outlet pass, receives it. They throw it over Ebsary, who is fronting Takada.
Yeah.
How many is that now on Ebsary?
And we talked about that move. I like the fronting of a post. When you're undersized or under strength, fronting the post is a good look. But when you front, you've got to start gradually edging them back.
Yeah.
You've got to move them further back.
Cut
otherwise,
the angle.
yeah, the pass is just too easy. Really too easy for particularly the quality that Japan have on their team with distributing the ball.
Beck Allen back in with Edzuri, Kayla George back in, Jenna O'Hay, Mitchell for the Opals. Three-pointer, and that was yet another one that goes awry. That was Hayashi, who's just checked in. Another three, finally! Hayashi.
And you saw the relief punch in the air from Hayashi. She knew, you know, that she needed to break the seal for Japan on the three-point line.
And that was a great reach by Akaho, forcing the ball to go off the leg of Beck Allen, who hustled back to at least prevent the layup for Japan. Saki Hayashi shows her range.
Yeah, she had a good game day one, but she's not had big offensive nights since. But who knows? Maybe she's going to be the unexpected hero for today's game. Because you have a feeling there is going to be one on one of these teams.
Akaho, they have to put it up. Machida does, barely, but rushed it up. Fell asleep there. Japan, not knowing how much time is on the shot clock. Jenna O'Hay catches, shoots. Kayla George goes to work on Takashiki, but gets rejected.
I mean, Kayla George needs to be careful. She hooked Takashiki out of the way there. She really did ease her out of the way with a weak arm. It was just before that replay started, but just the length of Takashiki is too much for Kayla George to get past.
But Gallen, I'm not sure if that's a throw or if her foot was on the line, but she missed. And the well running dry right now suddenly for Australia.
And you feel like Japan are starting to steal control of this game.
Rui Machida, 5.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Japan get it inside, and a great defense again by Beck Allen. Not in this house, she says.
Yeah, second block of the game. She's certainly rescuing things on the defensive end.
And now to George, but she misses. Takashiki to Machida now. Here comes the Japanese. They like to be in the open floor. No look pass. And Nagaoka tried to go to the basket, I think, before she had possession. And then a foul called on Mitchell.
And I'm loving that last possession on the defensive end before this one, as we see the foul. And it was all down to Hayashi. She rotated so hard on the weak side that, yeah, she stopped Kayla George from scoring, really. And that was the rejection from Beck Allen as well. The defense seems to be ruling the roost at the moment for both these teams.
Five-point lead for the Opals. They have really struggled in this quarter for points. Great defense from Mitchell. Just 2 points for Australia in the second quarter. Seacamp is checked in. Offensive foul. Is that number 2 on George? You just talked about using her arm to clear out, and that's what they called.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. She needs to use her body to do that. Just, you know, lean in with your shoulder and then step away. That's how you're going to get your space. That's how you're going to get away from your defender. It's just lazy play using your arms.
Kayla having a conversation with the referee, getting her point across, and says, that's all right. So, again, looked like Nagaoka just didn't make the catch. She's struggling. She's kind of got fumble fingers today, but they've called a foul.
But not just that, she's becoming a thorn in Australia's side at the moment. She seems to be putting herself in the right places to cause problems for Australia. And yeah, like you say, picking up, you know, drawing another foul. And
I don't see that. That was, she even hooked Seacamp a little bit at the beginning of that. Anyway, Hayashi misses. Now Seekamp, who was so impressive last night, leading Australia and rebounding. But the ball goes off the hands of Beck Allen and out of bounds. So now everybody's got fumbleitis.
And if you could see Coach Brondello's face, and it was almost a teeth-drying face, a kind of face as the ball went out of bounds, because she knows at the moment a team are making mistakes. It's not going their way. After a good start again, and I don't want to jinx things for Australia, but this is exactly the kind of game flow that we had in their game against China.
I think they need McBeggar back in there to give them that option on the interior, because she's looks pretty tough.
Yeah, it's just what minutes. Ideally, you'd have McBeggar in for 40. You know, it's just, I suppose she's just saying, well, when do I want to at the moment? The game's still ours. We're still in the lead.
Yeah, true.
You know, let's ration those minutes, because McBeggar is the explosive offense threat for them.
Motohashi goes in and is fouled. She almost had a chance for a three-point play, and I trying to see, was it the block on Beck Allen, or was it Ebzery with the swipe down? Watch this. Oh, yeah, it was Ebzery.
Oh, yeah. I think Motohashi almost collided with the cameraman.
Well, that
is just slightly.
That is one of those make sure she doesn't score fouls from Ebzery.
Yeah, it is.
And poor Motohashi, she's earning a living running into things in this tournament, but nevertheless, she's at the line. And you wonder, you know, if Manami Fujioka, had she been able to play, what Motohashi's role would have been.
Yeah, potentially, but
some big names missing for both sides. Obviously, with Liz Cambage not playing for Australia, and Fujioka and Mizushima for Japan. Here's Kayla George. That's the best way to answer your critics. Kayla George, show them your sweet stroke from deep.
Yeah, 2 for 2 for Kayla George now as well, showing the range.
Motohashi again, and this time there for the offensive rebound and putback was Tokushiki.
And I like this change from Japan. They need to stop this infatuation with the three-point shot. It's not going. They're 1 from 14. But when they get to the basket, they're getting good shots.
Motohashi swoops in for the rebound. Smallest player on the floor. Gets it over to Hayashi. Now Motohashi for three, and we've got a one-point game.
Oh, wow, it's become the Motohashi show. It really has.
And they had asked for a timeout, but for whatever reason, the buzzer didn't sound.
Yeah, Coach Brondello's almost having a timeout with half her team. They're going to have to look at the clock as well, I imagine, and bring that back. But yeah, it's become the Motohashi show in the last few minutes. I said it early on, I love the way she puts intensity and pace into the offense for Japan, and that's exactly what she's done.
She has that permanent smile on her face, even after she gets up after colliding with the advertising hoarding.
And if we need the rescreen, just switch it, block it. Rescreen, switch it, block it. Yeah, okay, because they're loaded up on the weak side, get in. Make sure we're protecting the paint here and then sense of urgency on closeouts here. Okay? Hey, look, we're our worst enemy, aren't we here? We got no rhythm and poise on offense. We're just, you know, taking, that was a good shot there, but with no inside-outside presence. Okay, and here, let's keep them out of the paint. Staying in plays as much as we can here. Okay? So look, you're running your one.
もうちょっとファーストブレイクできるかなと思う。走ってラビットチャンスあれば走って、okay? 15番3ある、okay? 50% ぐらいですから、
Yeah, I'm loving both of those timeouts as well. You know,
again, New Zealand, real quick, sorry, Mark. Yeah. New Zealand here watching. Penina Davis on the left, and Ashley Katiana on the right. Sorry, go ahead.
They finished off their tournament well. They'll be happy getting the win before they head home.
Chinese Taipei.
But yeah, for both the timeouts, I'm loving, you know, obviously I don't speak Japanese, but Tom Hovas straight away talking about fast break. Absolutely, get up there, put some pressure on them, and it's working. And then on the Australian side, couldn't agree more with Coach Brondello. She's saying, look, they're overloading the weak side, so they've got kickouts, that's fine. But let's flood the paint and then make sure we chase out to that shooters. You know, let's not just hang out, let's help a lot more than we are at the moment.
So as you're back in, number 13, she's got the ball. So Jenna O'Hay in the left corner. And Miyazawa called for a foul on Ebzery. Beck Allen comes out, and Steph Talbot's going to come in. Both these teams found out which groups they're going to be in the pre-qualifiers for the Olympics, which will be played in November. We'll talk about that in a minute. George Talbot, the rebound. Can't leave George open. Now she drives in, tries a very difficult shot. And then up to Takada. And good D from O'Hay. Put her off just a little bit.
It was a wonderful pass, but it was always going to be a tough finish for Takada.
George for three. This time clangs off the rim.
Nah, she's trying to force things for herself there. She needs to let the defense give her something, because they will. It's not always going to be the three-point shot, though.
There's Motohashi again. Great D by George. He says, let me make this defensive play before I check out.
And I like that. You know, George is going out, Garvin's coming in. I actually think Garvin is better suited to this type of game. It's a quicker, more fluid game, and I think Garvin, you know, is slightly more mobile than George. You lose a huge amount of other aspects when you bring Garvin in for George, but I think she's more suited to this matchup.
Miyazawa, good! Japan have taken the lead for the first time tonight. And it's Miyazawa finally hitting pay dirt with that three-pointer. And now here come the Japanese running. Hayashi cuts back to her right. It's all Motohashi involved in a lot of this for Japan. Togashiki fakes the three, drives in, gives it to go. And despite their difficulties in this first half, Japan have come back to take the lead.
Wonderful composure to ride the initial storm from Australia and fight your way back into the lead by the half time as well.
So Japan 10 points, all turnovers, 5 for Australia. Here's Talbot, short. And Motohashi again goes right at Talbot, scores and earns a trip to the line. I tell you what, she is playing big.
She's an absolute firecracker of a player. Look at. She's not intimidated at all by the size she's going up against. She's massively undersized, but just goes so hard to the basket. And Japan can't do anything wrong at the moment. You see the bench players enjoying what they're seeing on the floor. And the one thing I would say is, though, Motohashi once again goes ploughing into the support for the basket. If I was her, I'd wear some kind of back padding when I played, because it gets an absolute hammering by the way she plays the game.
Well, last time it was Manami Fujioka who was the real revelation for Japan. This time it's Motohashi, the 25-year-old, is getting the job done. Ezzy McBeggar, her attempt rattles out. Motohashi is pulling the strings for this Japanese team.
And again, the smarts is there as well. She's going to slow it down and try and take nearly the last shot. Only leave a couple of seconds for Australia to work with. That's the plan.
Motohashi over to Hayashi. Miyazawa, she's got to launch it, and, well, they waited just a little too long to get into their offense. And Japanese fans, big and small, here watching, and just .1.
There's got to be more than that on the clock, I'm pretty sure. No, it's going to be .1, I think.
No,
I think it's got to be a couple of seconds.
They put 5.
I think it's about 2.5 seconds. Yeah, they've put 5.1 back on, but I'm not sure it is 5. I think there was about a 2-3 second gap.
Yeah, they're going to look at it. They're asking. It's a big sequence here. Australia might be able to score with the long one.
Yeah, there's a big difference between 5 seconds and 2 seconds. There really is. I think it's 2-3 at the max.
That's what I thought. I'm surprised Hovas isn't arguing. They're looking at it.
Because they'll be aware of it as well, because they'll have wanted to know how they were running down the clock.
I think it's just under 3 seconds is what it should be.
But that last play for Motohashi, I think it just showed she's a little bit tired. I think this halftime break is coming at a perfect moment for Motohashi to grab some grab some rest and be ready for the second half.
Well, she plays for Tokyo Haneda Vickies.
So they've gone to 1.5 seconds.
1.5. Mitchell has to launch it. And waited just a little bit too long.
You see, Mitchell wasn't aware that they'd swapped it down to 1.5. She was still thinking it was on 5.1.
Well, perhaps a fitting conclusion to the first half. Japan owned the second quarter. They lead 35-28 at the break.
And there's your shooting stats from the first half, but it's not really the shooting stats to look at. It's more the points break. Australia were held to just 5 points in that second quarter by a resurgent Japanese team. They really completely changed things up. Back end of the first quarter and for the whole of the second quarter, they dominated the game, and it was really on the back of Motohashi just working so hard. But 8 turnovers at the half isn't something that Australia will be too happy about. Japan definitely in the driving seat and will definitely be the happier of the two teams in the semi-final here at FIBA Women's Asia Cup. But still so much to play for, and the game hasn't disappointed me so far.
Not at all. So Japan, led by their feisty point guard, Motohashi, Nako Motohashi, have taken the lead over Australia with a strong second quarter, 35-28. At halftime, we'll be right back before the start of the third quarter.
to Blitz Adams, who makes the shot. Nice little touch pass back by Nicholson. The game. Here's Navalai. Looks like she's a secret weapon. Again. Wow! She is a rising star, folks.
Slightly higher than the...
Cabin man just went right past Pondavia, but what a play by Nixon, who's playing inspired basketball. Boy, Nixon has been unrecognizable today. So Davidson and Crichton in now for New Zealand. And look at that, great decision by the experienced Bay. Goes in with the left-handed layup, and right now they're going for the jugular. You can see it.
But what I like is that if I'm the Philippines now, I'm running into you as hard as I can. So it's
Look at
kind
the
of
move.
look tired.
Oh, beautiful play, Lamai. Put that on a highlight reel.
35-28, Japan on top of Australia at halftime in the first semifinal of the Fiba Women's Asia Cup. Jinohei had a great start for Australia. She's got 9 points and 2 rebounds, and really when she got it going, everybody had it going for Australia. Beck Allen was playing great. Ezzy McBeggar was getting the job done, and Japan looked like they were in trouble, but they were able to turn things around in the second quarter, and led by Nako Motohashi, their exciting 25-year-old point guard, stormed back and took the lead. So, you know, they have really asked some questions of Australia. And Mark, as we look at Motohashi's numbers, you know, I asked you, what you thought Australia needed to do, and why don't you give us the response?
Yeah, for me, it's exactly what Coach Mondello was talking about on the defensive end. I'm still saying flood the paint. I know that Japan have started hitting some threes now, but they're still only 3 from 16. They don't have that flow yet from outside. So for me, I'm being a little bit more guarded, guard my paint, and then just try and chase shooters off the line. If I'm Coach Mondello, I'd be hammering that home to them right now.
Hey, now when they're going to piss up on offensive board, you can't trot up there, and she wants to go to a left hand. Change the angle of the screen so she can come off it, but hold good screens, okay? Hey, first play here, let's just go 4 down with Ezzy. Okay, so Lay, you're gonna pass it here. Doesn't matter, Jenny, you can get here. Now don't let him steal it, okay? Get in here, Kayla, reverse it quick. If you can't give it to her, you just pass it. Get it up here, let Jenna, now Lay bump long, so go get Lay quick. Okay, Lay's open, yes!
Well, you know what? I think a lot of people, and remembering that Liz Cambage is not here, especially Liz Cambage, but got to remember Japan have some players around here. So this is, the reality is, international basketball is tough. And I think Asian basketball is probably a lot tougher for Australia than maybe a lot of people that don't know much about international basketball realized. And, that we've seen China come out and play well against Australia. We've seen Japan. But, these Australian players are tough, and they're not going to, they're going to come out fighting right now. I expect a really good second half.
Yeah, the thing I have with all this player's, that player's missing, I've had enough of it. That's Australia, this is Japan.
Exactly.
And that's that. These two countries are going head-to-head now as the second half starts, and who's missing is completely irrelevant. These two countries don't care. The players on the floor don't care who's missing. They want to win gold.
I mean, Tokashiki wasn't there 2 years ago, and Japan won, and it was a special one. And here they come right out now. Miyazawa strokes another 3. Well, if indeed Australia are going to pick their poison and allow those three-point shooters to get open, it could backfire.
Yeah, biggest lead for Japan, 10 points now, double digits.
Beck Allen goes right at Motohashi and earns a trip to the free throw line.
Only the second foul on Motohashi, but it's the right call. She stands well, but it's then when she brings her arms down that she makes the officials call it. And there's the triple to open things up for Japan. And like you say, picking your poison, I still would give Japan the 3, but you do have to chase those shooters. You're going to flood the paint, but then as soon as you see a spot up getting the ball, you are chasing out with everything you've got.
I like seeing Beck Allen attack the basket, though, and she gets to the line and makes 2. Motohashi to Takada, who's been quiet today by her standards, that's for sure. And now Motohashi loses the handle, and it's Mitchell, open floor. O'Hay, we have McBeggar on the right. Koa guarding McBeggar, and Beck Allen floats in and misses a short jumper. Takada from the top.
Now you could see straight away, as soon as she released that, she pulled at the shot. It wasn't a nice, smooth action.
Mitchell to Kayla George. Shot clock down to 6. Mitchell back to George. Takes the long jump shot. She was chased off the made to go off the 3-point arc, and the ball goes out of bounds.
And it's not where Kayla's going to be most effective. Yes, she hit a couple of early 3s, which was great, but that's the last 2 that she's missed, and they've not been the best shot options either. She needs to get closer to the basket and put pressure on Japan inside.
Motohashi from deep, goes in and out. Now Jenna Ohei, head up to Kayla George. That's where she's going to be successful, but wasn't able to finish.
Fades away from the basket, go towards it. Like that.
Motohashi with the left-handed layup. Brondello thought Kayla George was fouled.
I think Kayla George is lucky not to have a foul called against her. She was pulling on Motohashi's jersey while she was trying to seal out.
Mitchell, unmolested, gets Australia back to within 10 or 8. Motohashi bounce pass to Takata. No call there. They let him play. Okashiki back outside to Akaho. Now Motohashi, another three-pointer for the young Japanese point guard.
Wonderful shooting, but I don't know what signal you need to tell you that Motohashi's a shooter more than her hitting what she's hit. They're not chasing the shooters.
So if you watched her play in her last game, I mean, that would have been...
Yeah, notice enough that she can shoot.
Bounce pass to Mitchell. Well, it was a good pick by McBagger, but Mitchell missed the layup.
Yeah, and Coach Brondello wants a timeout.
Motohashi, another three, and it was off the rim. McBagger gets her hand on it, it goes out of bounds, and Sandy Brondello calls timeout here early in the second half because Motohashi's magic continues for Japan.
Yeah, it really does, and you know, if anything, this is great for Coach Hovas because he's managed to secure one less timeout in the crunch of the game. You know, Coach Brondello is now only going to have 2 more timeouts to use across the next 16, well, almost 17 minutes of action.
Defense now, okay? Look, just a screen. You see what Lay's doing? If we just set good screens, we can go down the middle. Okay, we just got to keep moving the ball. And like I said, look, Caleb, if you're open the 3, you got to take that there. It's more the bad ones. Like if you're open, you shoot it. Okay, then we got to move it and then sprint to the next action. Okay, that's what I want to do here. Right now we're going Iowa. Okay, but if you got an open lane, so Becky, you're here. Jenny, you got to...
こっちサイドで2人しかいなかったじゃんね。で、ミッチェル5番がドライブした時にジョージこっちにポップするじゃないですか。どっち見たらいいかが難しいからポップしてたらもうスイッチ。逆サイドいないから。ここから誰かヘルプして。
Naomi Tokashiki sharing her thoughts.
Always love timeouts, and I love coaching styles where they empower the players to have their say. They have to know the hierarchy, that head coach is head coach and he's in charge. But I also love the power that players feel and the investment, engagement they have with a team when they have the ability to contribute in that timeout. It really does change the dynamic in a team when they feel, you know, how important their word is.
So that young Japanese fan, he's all happy. Team's up 11.
I think the biggest issue Australia have got at the moment is that Japan are running hard both ways and they're finding it tiring.
And remember, Australia had to play last night, whereas Japan did not. Miyazawa, oh! And they called the charge on Miyazawa. Good job, Mitchell.
Yeah, and again, it's the height difference that causes the issue. Normally, that's going to be an arm bar into a player's chest. But because Leilani Mitchell is a lot shorter, it's an arm bar into a throat.
Yeah, she took one for the team there. McAllen to Abby Bishop. Tough shot, Bishop. She makes it. Turnaround in the lane.
That's a big, big shot. It's not easy to fade away, a contested fade away as well.
Takata, short. Now another opportunity for the Opals. Mitchell pulls up and hits a 3!
I don't think that's great shot choice, but a 3's a 3.
And now Mitchell knocks it away. She's up ahead on the break, and she uses her body excellently. Makes the layup. The Leilani Mitchell run has brought Australia to within 4 points.
And I like this from Coach Hovas. A lot of coaches would call a timeout. I'd let my team settle. You know, they've proved that they deserve that right. I think it's good.
Motohashi inside to Miyazawa. That's an interesting observation. And basket would suggest that indeed was the right thing to do. Now Beck Allen drives in, and despite Tokashiki breathing down her neck, Tokashiki rather, she scores. And Akaho goes in and draws the foul from Bishop.
And this is the thing, it's the relentless pressure from Japan running full speed both ways. You know, that's what's causing the issue. Bishop, that wasn't her defensive assignment. She's having to burn one of her fouls on that, as we see the lay-in from Beck Allen. And you can see why her nickname is Spider when you look at her limbs stretched out like that.
She's Spider Woman?
If they've got Ultra Woman, then yeah, she can be Spider Woman.
Ultra Woman for Nagaoka. Pure free throws from Akaho. Steph Talbot in, along with Ebzery, Bishop, Garvin. Now Bishop again. Uzawa comes up with it. Akaho tries to go baseline, gets it to the corner. They're making Australia work on D, and then right at the end of the shot clock, Tokashiki is fouled in the lane. Yeah. And it was by Steph Talbot. Now, Akaho for three. Ebzery with the board.
Again, I don't know why New Zealand are giving their shooters the space.
You mean,
sorry, Japan. Yeah, Australia are giving them their shooters the space. And again, on the flip side of that, why are Japan giving Beck Allen space? They've just both been fortunate not to have a three scored on them.
He's calming down just a little bit here. It was at a frenetic pace. And Tokashiki gets it down low, goes up. Good D from Australia. Ebzery now. This is where the Opals need some execution. Bishop hands it back off to Ebzery. What a beautiful play!
For Tokashiki, it's such a difficult play to defend as well, because you're defending the post. Do you step across or not? That's your decision. Because if she doesn't hand the ball off, then you've just given up a post play. And if she does, you've given up a drive. So difficult to play defense against that wonderful offense from Australia.
Tokashiki's going to come out of the game. Oka comes in.
Physical no defense, communication, execution. They haste. Okay? Haste. Half court になると相手がアンダー言ってるからhaste. Moshi.
And the key thing, Abby, it's working now because you're setting screens. Okay, you're setting great screens. That's all it is. Yeah, racks are floppy in a pinch in a back door, but you can go floppy. Let's go floppy into a side pick and roll. The 5-man comes in. You get your pull up. Okay, the 4-man stays here, clear out the other one, and then we'll see who's open. Okay, execute. 1, 2, 3, execute.
I keep rotating.
Well, Leilani Mitchell struggled some in the first half with Motohashi, but boy, did she come to life here for Australia at just the right time. She scored there. She pulled up on the break for the three. And she came up with a steal, took it away from Motohashi. And Motohashi was fortunate to get away with not having a foul called. And then Mitchell went in for another basket. So great spark by Leilani.
Yeah, it came from nowhere, really. She'd had a little bit of a struggle in the first half, and she just came to life for that brief spell, and it really put life back into Australia's offense.
Motokawa makes the shot. backing it in.
And wonderful play. And this is the problem when you're Australia. You know, you're trying to highlight who's the threat from the Japanese side, and the answer is whichever 5 they've got on the floor is the threat. There's just no let-off. All 12 players on the Japanese team have some kind of offensive weapon that can hurt you.
Steph Talbot now with 3 fouls. He's the only player with 3 fouls in the game. Rui Machida back in. And again, Edzuri, this time unsuccessful with the reverse.
Yeah, much better defense from Japan. They read the move along the baseline and covered it effectively with some rotation.
Nagaoka from downtown Bengaluru, and Australia keep it, or excuse me, Japan keep it. Takada steps into it. Oh, she has been off today.
Yeah, she's not had a good game. Still got 5 boards to her name, but offensively she's been a
non-factor.
Yeah, pretty much.
3-pointer, Garvin, and it goes out of bounds.
And you almost feel this pendulum of momentum is starting to shift back to Japan again. It's been such a game of runs, and that's what's made it so exciting and breathtaking.
Two and a half minutes to go here in the third quarter. Akaho forces her way in. Lauren Nicholson playing defense. Rui Machida trying to stay in front of Edzuri. Abby Bishop open from deep. That was off. Now quickly into transition, Motokawa. But Abby Bishop stood in her way, made for a difficult shot.
Yeah, and it's Australia's defense that's keeping them in this one at the moment. They're working really hard, and it's that interior defense. It's defending against the drive, which isn't easy to do without giving up fouls.
Takada knocked it away, but it went right back to Edzuri. And Edzuri backing up Machida. And gets the foul call on Machida.
And the only thing Machida's doing wrong, you'll see it here, is a hand there, a hand there. Her footwork is perfect. She doesn't need to drop her hands. She really doesn't. She's done everything right, but then she just feels like the hands need to get involved. Don't need to. You've played perfect defense against Edzuri.
Sometimes you're struggling, and just take the struggles to the free throw line as well. Edzuri misses the first. Gets the second one to fall.
The thing you've got, though, it's not even the missing of the free throws. That's only really their 3rd trip to the free throw line.
There's our friend Glenn.
Yeah, he's MVF, most valuable fan. Having a chat with him last night, and he's become a local superstar, hasn't he? He's become a local superstar, probably more so even than his daughter.
He was playing pool, billiards, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's playing pool with the locals. He didn't want to tell us who he got beaten by, though, did he?
No.
He said he might lose his Aussie status if he got told exactly who beat him in pool. But I'm sure the locals that are listening back home in his hometown can now ask him exactly who knocked him out of the pool tournament.
And Steph Talbot has just picked up her 4th foul.
And that's a big foul.
So I'm guessing she's going to come out.
Yeah, it looks like Coach Brondello straight away is going to make the change and bring Beck Allen back in. It's not a bad swap, though, really, is it? Taking Talbot out. A great player, and bringing in the sharp shooting, wily defender that is Beck Allen.
Only 1 of 2 at the line. O'Hay also going to come back into the game, but she's not been able to get her out yet because of that missed free throw. Quick pass, beautiful to Nicholson. But then she's blocked. And I think they're going to call the foul on Motokawa underneath.
Yeah, Takada actually did a good job in the end by blocking it from behind, but it's...
she raked her on the left arm.
She just reached it.
Completely.
And to be honest, that's almost... She's doing it intentional. She's just saying, I'm not going to let you score an open shot. You're going to go to the line and have to earn your points.
Big minutes here for Nicholson. Australia in a real dogfight here with Japan. Spot in the final is at stake. Motokawa goes out, and Hayashi comes back into the game, number 27 for Japan. Nagaoka. And Rui Machida gets the long rebound. Machida gets past Abby Bishop. Now Leilani Mitchell brings it up. Six-point lead for Japan. Dumping it down low to Garvin.
Yeah, wonderful vision from Bishop at the top to find the open Garvin in the low post. And
Glenn's going to be getting a lot of camera time now.
yeah, I think he might start trending on social media soon if we're not careful.
13-11, you see in favor of Australia's assists, and now Machida, shot clock winding, or game clock winding down. Motokawa misses everything with Jenna O'Hay running right at her. All in all, not a bad recovery really for Australia. They were reeling a little bit, and they have closed the gap, but still Japan on top, 52-48, 10 minutes remaining.
And here are your shooting stats from the game. Neither team shooting brilliantly from outside. Most of the damage being done inside. And Australia and Japan both shooting well from the free throw line. Just Australia not getting there very often. But that was a big quarter from Australia. After only putting up 5 points in the second quarter, it was so important that they jump-started their offense. And that the point guard, Leilani Mitchell, really was that jump start as well.
Yeah, you have to go back to that moment. Mitchell really kind of stemmed the flow, kind of changed the momentum, and just said, "Hold on a second, you're not going to run away from us."
Yeah, it was on both ends as well. You know, she hit some jumpers, and then she got the steal and the breakaway lay-in, and it really ignited a little bit more energy from her teammates. And off the back of that, they were able to reduce the Japanese lead by 3 points in that quarter and set us up for, well, probably what will be another tense 10 minutes for Australian fans after the game that they had against China, losing by the point. They'll be devastated if the same happens to them again here. But
you know, Australia have had so many iconic point guards. You know, you go back to Michelle Timms, or Timsy, as everybody calls her down under. Christy Harrower as well was such a, man, she was feisty. You did not want to play against her. For a long time.
I'm an Australian player that you wouldn't use the word feisty for, though. It seems to be their brand of basketball.
Now it's Leilani Mitchell making some important plays. I tell you, there's a bunch of Japanese fans here that Glenn is having to hold off.
He's holding his own.
Becky Allen. Here's O'Hay. Maybe it's O'Hay's time to shine. Quick pass to Garvin. O'Hay, no, front and back. Beck Allen with the rebound. I feel like if Australia could get a three to go here, well, they'd settle for a two if they could get it. And wow, Tokushiki, the ball goes off her hands. Good effort there by Garvin. I feel like if they could get a three to go, it would really ignite them.
Yeah, you do have that feeling. You do have that feeling that, and I'll be honest, it's for either side really, that it's close to someone taking a bit of control of the game and having a bit of a run. Could it be Australia or could it be Japan?
Mitchell, this is inside the arc. Garvin again gets the rebound, and her pass batted out of bounds by Motohashi.
Fifth rebound of the game for Darcy Garvin.
Bounce pass, read and stolen. Takada tried to get it to Miyazawa. Now she does get it from Tokushiki and hits a three.
Wow, big play from Japan, and great heads-up play to see the opening that they had.
Somebody needs to put the ball on the deck for Australia and go to the baskets. Well, Beck Allen's going to put up a long two. Goes in and out. Miyazawa again. Motohashi, middle of the floor, pulls it back out. Now she's going to go in, and great reach. Was it O'Hay or Allen? I couldn't see, but somebody reached in and took it away. Mitchell from deep. Count it! Wow. She's got ice in her veins.
That's, yeah, Tokashiki not stepping out to challenge the three, and Mitchell's already hit one, so she's earned the right to be defended from the perimeter.
Miyazawa from deep and hits another. Wow.
And the Japanese bench love that one. They celebrate every score, but I think there was a little bit more juice on the celebration for that one.
She's now 4 of 8 from three-point range. That's a player that you cannot leave open. She shot it well 2 games ago as well. There's Becky Allen, tough move in the paint.
Just an absolute warrior move, that is. It's just a full bruiser. Plow your way into the paint, get hit, take contact from several people, and still have the mind and the execution to get it to go.
What has she thought about launching it? Takada, she's been quiet. And Miyazawa gets in there for the rebound. Tokashiki, tough move, hanging in the air, able to score over Bishop.
Wow, Japan starting to take the reins again of this one.
Mitchell trying to force it up to get a foul. Now Miyazawa to Akaho, and misses. And Australia hustled down. That's why you got to get down there now. Hey, sees an open path, and Miyazawa, who's been absolutely sensational for Japan, prevents that. You know, Miyazawa, 14 points, 10 rebounds, and a steal.
Is it just one Miyazawa on the floor too? Because I swear she was literally half a second up this end. Next end, she's saving it down this end.
You're right, there's 2 of them. There's 2 Motohashis and 2 Miyazawas.
Yeah, I think they've found some kind of portal to use in this game. Unbelievable.
Blitzhouse has come into the game. Down low to McBeggar, who has kind of been forgotten, really.
Yeah, she really has. And I love that play from Tokashiki, because that's a psychological battle as well. She's trying to put McBeggar in her place. She's trying to say, no, I'm the dominant big in this tournament. I'm going to control the paint. And McBeggar needs to step up to that challenge.
And Tokashiki, I think, might have gotten away with a foul on Allen. I find it hard to believe that one wasn't called.
She's got a flop warning. She's got a flop warning for that.
I'll have to see it again.
Yeah, I'd like to see that again.
The way that Tokashiki really came at her, looked like there was contact.
I'm not sure.
Watch this. Okay,
that's a different one.
Come on. I want that one. I want the other one. Anyway, I'll have to play it back and look at it later. Pass goes out of bounds. Oh, Motohashi
goes to collect the ball. Wonderful.
Getting a little bit extra sprints. Okay. 11 on the shot clock now. Ebzeri gets swatted by Akaho. 5 on the shot clock.
And you can see how much this is starting to mean now. You know what I mean? We're getting into the crunch of the game. And every call, every possession is being argued now. It's quite frustrating as a fan, but you understand why the players and the coaches are doing it.
Oh, they dump it to McBeggar. They make a mistake, Japan, on the inbound.
I don't make a mistake. Lilani Mitchell sets the biggest screen she's ever set in her life. She pinned Tokashiki out of the game. Unbelievable strength to do that.
Miyazawa, she doesn't hesitate. Unbelievable.
And the Australians are just not chasing shooters off the line. They're going to have to overcommit to the perimeter now. And that's exactly what Rondello is screaming out to her players. They've got to chase them off the line. They've got to chase the shooters out. Look, McBeggar's not even making the effort to get out there. She's taking a couple of slow steps forward. McBeggar's got to chase out. So much harder than that. This isn't a half-pace game now. This is absolutely blood and guts kind of game that they're going to need to play.
8-point lead. Mitchell from deep. It was short. And Miyazawa, the star of the game now. She's probably surpassed Motohashi in that sense. Lining up for another one. Hey, it must be like deja vu for Australia. Last year it was Saki Mizushima that hit 7 threes against them in the final. And now Motohashi hits a 3.
they have just hit a wall of threes from Japan. Australia just, well, must be punch drunk from this, because it's just an unbelievable performance.
Wow, that was a tough drive from Beck Allen.
And it's the right decision as well. Go at him, go to the basket, get things going. At least get a score on the board.
Takada over to Akaho. That's too long. And the rebound, though, by you-know-who, Yuki Miyazawa. Motohashi to Miyazawa. In and out, but Akaho with another rebound, and Motohashi doesn't hesitate. And another rebound for Akaho. And fouled by Beck Allen. How many times do you see Australia give away that many offensive rebounds?
Yeah,
that is unbelievable.
And this is exactly why Kayla George is coming into the game. Because that's the only reason pretty much now, is to seal up that paint, because they are just hemorrhaging offensive rebounds. That's offensive rebound 15 for Japan. And they're not going to get back in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the second Australian timeout burn if Japan hit another three now.
Well, Australia have got to get stops and points now. There's 5:04 remaining in the game, and they're trailing by 9 points against a rampant Japan. And Kayla George comes right in and is called for a foul. Kind of a niggly. 3 fouls. Yep, no, she got her on the lip.
Completely pointless foul. Doesn't achieve anything whatsoever.
Oh, nice reach by Edzer, almost forcing the turnover, but Akaho flies in and scores with the left hand.
11-point lead now for Japan. How long till Coach Fondello will call a timeout to stop this, because they need to change something.
Blitzavs gets it to Garvin, and she's pushed by Takada. 4:36 remaining. I think it speaks volumes about Japan when you consider they're having this type of game and Takada's having an off night.
Yeah, Takada's just been in the shadows. You know,
she is 1 of 14 from the floor. Here's Blitzavs from the baseline.
It's just not going Australia's way at the moment. They're getting relatively open shots, but they're just pulling at them, and you feel it's a psychological thing. They just don't have the confidence that maybe they should. To remember, Australia are rated first in this Asia zone.
Takashiki, she has to put up. And good D from Garvin. Getting in her grill with 4:08 remaining. Alarm bells ringing back in Canberra. Sydney and Melbourne. Australia might be going out of contention for the title tonight.
And as much as Japan are the 3 times reigning champion, I still think it would be a bit of a shock. I don't know if that's too much to say, or...
Yeah, definitely. Well, Blitzavs gets in, and Motohashi drives in, scores with a left hand. And Japan feel like right now, they must feel like they've got 1 foot in the final. They have got the wind in their sails.
And that pesky Motohashi again. She's just put Australia to the sword at every opportunity with her speed and her shooting ability, and you see how much the crowd are enjoying that one, and rightfully so. Good times for Japanese basketball.
That's what it always comes down to. You don't have a great shot, you dribble hand off to that person in front of you, okay? Keep setting good screens, but you're going to be aggressive. They're switch and step ups now, okay? So look to roll it and someone else become behind it, okay? But we got to get stops. We can't just be running trading baskets with them here too. Easy baskets, okay? That's what's hurting us at the moment. So just be ready for that. Right here, we're running tap head, but Lay, you're going to try and get the 3 here. Okay, so Katie, you so you're in the back.
Okay.
You know, Japan have hit some 3-pointers tonight, but they haven't shot a good percentage. They've hit 27.27%, 9 of 33. Where they've really killed Australia, they're rebounding those misses. I mean, they've got 47 rebounds overall, 15 on the offensive glass. And Australia have 43 rebounds themselves, but you know, this Japan team just doesn't give up on a possession when they miss a shot. They really go after it.
Yeah, and 14 second chance points for Japan as well. It's, you know, that's the number for me that stands out of all of it. It's, they've gone after the offensive boards in this second half, and it's paying dividends. They're up by 13, and this is going to be one almighty comeback by Australia if they can take this one.
Garvin from deep, misses to the side, and they've also got 30 points from the bench tonight. Japan just 13 for Australia, so
20 of those are from Motohashi, though.
yeah.
She's been an absolute phenom yet again.
I mean, Machida starts, but Motohashi, boy, she's so good, you can't get her out. And how about Miyazawa driving and earning another trip to the line? I think we were both really taken as you look at the drive here with, we got to speak on the day of the shoot-around before the tournament started with Tom Hovas. How do you feel about your team? I feel really good. How do you feel about your chances of winning this thing? I feel really good. I mean, he was just like, he was just saying blatantly, you know, we're ready.
Yeah, but it was also tinged with that humility. You know, his comments, we don't think we're the talent to this, you know, we're not.
Oh, yeah, he said it's all
work rate.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. When we get on the floor, we have to outwork every other team we play against. And he goes, and his team know that. He's like, my players know this, and they buy into it.
This is in everything.
Yes.
This is throughout the year when they get together. I mean, the work rate of the likes of Motohashi is just off the charts.
Unbelievable.
Edzuri is able to pull up, but she misses. Now under 3 minutes to go, and it's looking very bleak for the Opals. But it's looking like it's going to be another great win here for Japan.
And it's all time management for Japan now. It really is. Start slowing the game down.
Tokashiki goes right at George. Akaho flies in for the rebound. Takada picks up the loose ball. I mean, look at that score. That is unbelievable. 17-point lead for Japan against the Opals.
And they've kept them to 57 points. Wonderful defensive effort by Japan.
Allen to Garvin. Banks it in. Motohashi gets swatted by George. Now a chance for a layup. Great catch by Kayla, and she puts it in.
That's good running by George. She recognized as soon as she got the block that if she got out and run, it was just going to be a real mismatch at the other end for her. So, yeah, smart heads-up play. They're the kind of baskets that Australia need, and they need them in a hurry.
They need them, and they don't get steals. They got to start also thinking about who they might foul. A good job by Edzuri forcing the turnover.
Great job by Edzuri. Absolutely great.
Trapped. And Edzuri's quick hands knocked it away. And I think probably a smart timeout by Tom Hovas. It's like, we've got him right where we want him, but we've got to be able to be intelligent here over the last minute.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what Coach Hovas wants to talk about, though. Do you know what I mean? What messages are key for him to get across?
Trap, if they get over halfway, let's trap, get steal. Any handbacks or any of that, any pick and roll stuff in the half court, we got to trap it. Okay? And then we got to get out and run drags. You got to take quick on the shots. You got it?
Well, my limited Japanese, I can't give you a full translation, but I think he might have been talking about let's attack that pressure with pressure.
Yeah.
Let's go to the basket.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's kind of saying time management's important, but we still have to be creating shots. We still have to attack and go at them because that's what's got us to where we are.
Of course, we're going to confirm this after the game.
Yeah. I'm going to
say we were trying to guess what you were saying.
give me 2 years. Give me 2 years.
Zhu Liman, the coach of China,
Ready for the next semi-final.
Three-pointer from Mitchell, and Miyazawa comes down with it. It's knocked away. Australia staying after it, but Akaho has it. That was the basket Australia desperately needed. Hashi. She goes, she gets it, and she goes in. Little runner.
She just doesn't seem to be phased at all by this pressure. She's just relishing the opportunity to perform at the highest level.
Well, three-point attempt from Kayla George. Rebound, Tokashiki, and fouled by Garvin. And Ozzy McBeggar is going to come back in. You know, you talk about this incredible, it can only be described as an incredible run by Japanese women's basketball in the FIBA Women's Asia Cup.
Yeah, massively.
You know, okay, they have yet to win this year's, obviously, but they will be in the final. But, you know, people say, yeah, but Australia wasn't even in the Asia Cup in 2013, 2015 where they won. But you know what? They've been there for the last two Asia Cups, and they've run into this Japanese team and lost if they don't have a miracle comeback here.
And McBeggar's back into the game, and this is the one question I have over Coach Brondello. She's only played 18 minutes today, and in that 18 minutes she scored 8 points.
Yeah, after she put her on the bench, was it early in the second half?
She should have played a lot more minutes. She's been their star in this tournament, and she's not had the minutes in this final, in this semi-final, sorry.
But hey, with the three, gets it back to 12. Australia got to play every second here. Try to get the steal, but time is now the enemy. And Japan are closing in on yet another famous win over one of women's basketball's powerhouses, Australia. In fact, that is it. Japan have clinched a very impressive win over Australia here in the semifinals of the FIBA Women's Asia Cup 2019 in Bengaluru. They are not the champions for nothing, defending champions for nothing, folks. Japan win it 76-64 over Australia to reach the title game.
Impossible to pick a winner before the game, and when Australia started the way they did, I was almost concerned that it was going to be a blowout and not live up to the hype that we've had, but it went very much the way that the Australia-China game went. You know, Australia's strong start, but then they let their opponents back in the game, and Japan just grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck and dominated pretty much from the back end of the first quarter onwards, and really took it to Australia. And across the board, plenty of superstars in that Japanese team, and I'm excited to see them play the final.
And we talked about it, you know, this team is successful, and the way they do things with the resources that they have, you know, in terms of player personnel and what have you, the way they play basketball should increasingly, it looks like, become the model for a lot of other teams to try to replicate, because they get a lot of punch, don't they, for what they've got?
Yeah, they really do. And you speak to a lot of basketball people and you speak to a lot of coaches, and they use this word culture, but I don't think there's many people that get this idea of culture as Tom Hovas does. He has ingrained an unbelievable, he's combined Japanese culture with his basketball to create this absolute behemoth of women's basketball now.
Well, you digest the numbers there. You know, Japan out-rebounding Australia. Australia actually had more assists. Both of them had 5 steals. Just an incredible performance yet again by Japan. Australia with 11 blocks, 6 for Japan. Motohashi with the 22 points. Miyazawa had 15 points to go with her, 19 points to go with her 15 rebounds, and Motohashi also 6 assists. It's difficult to pick an MVP between those two players. Not that we have to, but two steals for Motohashi. Takashiki with 3 blocks. You know, Japan are so good now that you talk about Takashiki and you don't even have to say that she's out and out their best player. I mean, they are stocked.
Yeah. Literally, they ran through 9 players in their rotation today. They relied heavily on that 5 that finished the game. That 5 almost played 30 minutes apiece, but yeah, they have so many players that can step up, and different players seem to step up at different points in different games, and you know, that's a real luxury for Coach Hovas. But like you say, Miyazawa with the 19 points, 15 boards, or Motohashi with the 22.6 assists, just unbelievable performances. And it almost stems, like you say, from this preparation. I was watching them warm up, and they have a set warm-up. It obviously starts, say, an hour before the game, and they all know it, and it builds and builds and builds and builds, and they just execute it with such wonderful ease that it's really impressive as we have Coach Hovas come and shake our hands with, not surprisingly, a very big smile on his face.
Yeah, I mean, it really does. It's breathtaking stuff. I mean, it's I've seen it now. I've seen three of their FIBA Women's Asia Cup performances in the last 4 FIBA Women's Asia Cups, and they just keep getting better and better. Now, what's interesting is it hasn't necessarily translated to success in the big international tournament. You know, they lost to China in the qualification to the quarterfinals.
Why do you think that is? You've seen those tournaments. What's the state? Is it a psychological thing?
I actually didn't see that game because they didn't even make it to the main venue. That's how, you know,
short they came of expectations.
I think they ran into Belgium. They lost. You know, Belgium's a hot team now. They lost to China, and then at the Olympics, they were okay in Rio, but they weren't quite where they expected to be.
It can't be a talent thing. There must be just a psychological thing for them, you know, a block when they get onto the bigger stage.
I mean, obviously they want to win this title, but you could say they also have one eye on the very important tournament next year that is called the Olympic Games in Tokyo.
I'm so excited to see them play on their home court.
That will be the you know, that is going to be there's going to be a lot of pressure on them, I think. But maybe by having the crowd behind them and everything, and we'll talk about competition for places. Manami Fujioka was the player for Japan 2 years ago as the point guard, but now it's another point guard, Motohashi. Rui Machida came in, and now it's Motohashi. So success breeds success. New Zealand winning earlier today. Japan now have reached the final with the win over Australia, who will play in the 3rd place game. And next up, China and Korea. It doesn't stop, folks. We got more fun coming your way here from Bengaluru.